Hi, and welcome to Complete and Cast, the official podcast for Complete and Box video games.
Hi.
Good start. And here we're with Parker again.
Imagine that.
Right?
We're going to be reviewing
crazy.
a game. Oh, wait.
No review this time.
Oh,
Today we're talking about I don't want to call it a hot button issue, but it's an issue that, it's not like it's new now. It's been around for years.
No, right, yeah, for sure.
But me as a store owner guy,
so technical.
Mr. Burns, I am a good worker guy. Anyway, so we're talking about pre-ordering. Now, pre-ordering has become a four-letter word.
Yes.
In the video game industry, people don't like it.
Right.
And
for good reason.
We are going to talk about why there is good reason for that, but at the same time, why it is tougher for stores like Complete and Box, and ultimately, technically, tough for both you as the consumer and honestly, just every level. We buy from distribution, and the bigger companies buying straight from the publisher. So let's just get straight into it, actually. So, like I said, I'm going to try to provide a little bit of, I'm not going to call it insider information, because that's kind of silly, but like a different, take on this.
For sure.
So, pre-ordering video games has not always really been a thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I was a kid and we would be getting, whatever, the Super Nintendo, when I, saved up my money to buy the Super Nintendo, I just went to Toys R Us the day that I had enough money saved, and I already knew it was out. I don't know that there was I was probably too young to know that there was the release date and get there when I just remember going the first week or so that it came out, because I knew it was coming out, and just there it is. There was no sorry, we're out. But as I got older, I remember there being people couldn't get people wanted a TurboGrafx 16 or a Neo Geo, and the stores near us they would always be sold out. But they probably only had one or two copies now looking back, but at the time it was whoa, it's sold out. Wow.
So without going into huge video game history here, even though I love long strides in video game history, back then, it was actually a lot harder to find out when a game came out.
Right.
And that sounds weird from 2018 when, for a fact when something's coming out. But back then, you would only really have game magazines, or if you went to your local game store, and honestly...
They're coming out once a month. You get mailed to you, so
a lot of times, video game magazines like GamePro would say May 1994. They wouldn't say May 21st, 1994, for sure.
They might just say spring.
Yes.
They might just give you a season.
So a lot of times, and again, pre-internet, all that stuff, you would just kind of find out games are coming out. Just you would walk into a store and they're oh, great, Final Fantasy 3's out. Give it, kind of thing. So obviously nowadays everything with the internet and you kids get off my lawn and all that stuff, everything's much more here and now.
Right.
People know exactly when a game's coming out. YouTubers and stuff like that. They know exactly when
these games are getting more more hype.
They're getting much more hype.
You're starting 3 months of the game coming out. It's everybody's freaking out. People are getting advanced copies. And,
you're starting to see your favorite YouTubers streaming them and stuff like that. And so it's known. Red Dead Redemption is October 26th. I know that because I know that, right? Kind of thing. You just do, and it's set. Oftentimes, especially for big games, months in advance, and it was not always that way.
Right.
The first game I specifically remember pre-ordering was Ocarina of Time, but at that point, video games had been around for quite some time, and it really wasn't as big of a thing until we really got into the PS2, GameCube, that kind of era.
I feel like now it's weird because now these games are bigger and more impressive and insanely have more people involved in making them, and yet they pick these dates, and then it's the games aren't finished. Sometimes these games aren't finished when they get, but they set that in stone date, and it comes out, and those first couple weeks, there's a million patches, and it's like blah blah blah, and everybody's angry and blah, and it's all that negative stuff that goes along with that.
Let's start with the basic.
Right.
The basic information. This is how pre-ordering is technically supposed to work in a perfect world, right?
Right.
A game is coming out. The company or whatever puts out information. You're excited. You go to a store or you do it online, and you put in your pre-order. That information gets sent to the store.
Right.
The store goes to either the publisher or the game distributor and says, I have 100 pre-orders. By my estimation, I need 500 copies of this game. Whatever, right? And then when the game comes out, they order 500 copies because they know they get however many percentage of pre-orders for copies. You are guaranteed a copy when it comes out. You pick it up, you have a good time, and you're not, in a perfect world, your pre-order helps them know how many copies to get, and nobody's left just like searching around like, oh, where's this game? Where's this game kind of thing.
Exactly.
The world's not perfect like that.
Right.
And, a lot of reason for that, Parker just actually went into it, so let's go into that, is pre-ordering has got negative connotations nowadays. Right. And this has changed over the past 10 and definitely 5 years. I would say biggest in the last 5 years.
More in the last 5, for sure. I feel like the negative started with the like, corporate game stores, GameStop, and the, like, being just like very pushy when it comes to pre-ordering, which I get it. Like there's a good side of it, like as we'll go into it, but there would be a point where, and this has more to do with like GameStop training than it does with like actual pre-ordering as a concept. But you would have people that are just told that they have to push pre-orders, and they're just like, towing this line and asking you if you want to pre-order when you're trying to like buy a physical game, and then they're like interrupting you, like, hey, if you get this pre-order, and if you pre-order these things, I can give you this, and it's like, just give me this game that I want.
So as Parker just alluded to, in my I guess just overall view of this, there are two main reasons why pre-ordering has become a negative thing. Right. Like it's just something that let me start off with how Complete Inbox does it.
Right.
So we will like never ever 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 push on anything, which is actually both good and bad for us. It actually has some negative connotations for us as a store, and we'll get into that. But like I said, if you're talking about, oh, dude, I'm so hyped for Smash, like I'll be like, hey, we can pre-order. No worries if you don't want to, but I can guarantee you a copy. That's where we leave it. Now, unfortunately, part of the negative connotation is, we'll just name them. GameStop has, if you're listening to this podcast, you know enough about games to know that GameStop has a negative connotation for pushing pre-orders on people. It's common. It just is what it is. And there's a lot of reasons. Part of it is these, the bigwigs there are really, really pushing these lower workers to do it. Yep. Part of their rationale...
Because they do see that benefit. Like, they do see the benefit of knowing exactly how many people want a game. So they do have that.
In a certain way, I understand why GameStop would do it. They have like 7,500 stores. Activision is going to come to them and say, all right, how many Call of Duties do you want, right? And they go, well, we have... just think of it this way. This is how, like, when you have 7,500 stores, this is how big numbers get really quick, right? They have 10 pre-orders per store, which is not going to happen. It's going to be way more than that, right? Oh, yeah. But they have 10 pre-orders per store. That's 75,000 copies of just pre-orders. Right. Now, I don't know how they break it down in terms of percentages or whatever, but if they have 75,000 pre-orders, surely for a big game like that, they're going to get 5, 6, 7, 10 times as many copies. Let's just say it's 5 times as many copies. That's 350,000 copies, right? So, like, I 100% understand where they're coming from because, like, yes... You can tell when a game is going to be big, but not every Call of Duty's been big. Right. And there have been times where people have been hyped about a game and it came out to lackluster performance, and at the same time there have been games that came out that no one talked about. Right. And all of a sudden it was big. So it's completely understandable why they want to get it. Now, unfortunately, they go about it the wrong way. They really push it on the lowest employees. The lowest employees are just constantly I actually think we talked about this in a previous episode,
For sure.
are constantly like worried about losing their jobs, so they're they're pushing it,
Right,
and it just
like,
is what it is.
You're not like necessarily trying to be mean. You're just like, look, I was told I had to do this, so I'm just gonna do it. Like I'm not.
I gotta hit my quotas,
like,
or they're gonna yell at me because reasons.
And that's just the way it works.
So just overall, I mean,
so that became like this negative meme, like just the idea of pre-ordering, because you have these corporate stores being like very pushy, but then you have these game publishers that are putting these games out before they're done.
So let's go back 10, 15 years ago, before internet was a big thing on video game systems.
Yeah. When
a game came out, it came out.
Yep,
and it was done.
Yep.
Right? So you have a game like, I always love using this as an example, Tomb Raider, if I could talk, Angel of Darkness for PS2, will always and forever be a bad game.
Yep.
It came out and it was bad. It's buggy, it sucks, right? It just does. And that was pre-internet, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you can come out with a game, and I have a great example for that, which is Assassin's Creed Unity. Assassin's Creed Unity, when that came out, people hated it.
Right.
And it really, 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 I really feel like this is one of the top 3 examples of this in terms of like turning people off. They put the money down, they spent $60, and it was a buggy, awful mess.
Right.
Now, 3-4 years later, if you walked into CIB and paid X US dollars, very good deal, by the way, very good deal, on this game, it's not a buggy mess. They patched it. For all y'all not in the know, I assume you all know, but patches are just your system's connected to the internet. It'll say, hey, downloading this patch to make the game good.
Yep.
Right? And these are well-known things nowadays. There are day one patches, good or bad. I get Madden every year, and every year I have to put it in and I have to download this big patch for it.
Exactly.
And,
I mean, that's like, you get this game, like if you go to, like say, if we do a midnight release, if it's big enough, but whatever, you can get the game the second you're able to purchase it, drive home immediately and put it in, and there will be an update from the internet.
No question.
Like, that's just how it works. Like, they do not put everything on the disc when they ship it out. It's just like, that's just like, period. Like, there's just nobody that is doing that ever. I mean, 2 other examples quick, like No Man's Sky and The Division.
That's a great one.
2 online games, like all online games. And both those games, $60 at release. Everybody bought, a bunch of people bought them, immediately complained, hated it, blah, blah, blah. And then, like, fast forward to now, and, like, last year, when I got my Xbox One.
Xbox One X.
I picked up The Division because a couple of friends were playing it, and now they had bought it way back when it came out, and they had just, like, kind of just, struggled through it, and then started enjoying it later. But, like, I picked it up after these, like, really game-changing patches came out that I had read about online, and it was like, this game's amazing. How did anybody ever complain about this game? And it's weird because, like, I'm never going to know what it was like to experience the other side of it. I only saw this perfect final product, but The Division came out, like, a year and a half before
We're not talking
that.
about, like, Madden in 2018 had some pretty big bugs that they, like, pretty quickly worked out. Like, as much as people hate EA, like, there was a patch in, like, 3 or 4 days. So, like, we started our thing right away, and we were like, dang, this game's gonna stink. And they came out with this patch, and we're like, okay, well, they worked this out, right? It's okay. But, like, Division and No Man's Sky, we're talking, like, years.
Right, that came out in March of 2016, and I purchased the game probably in, like...
March of 2018.
Well, no... Was it the beginning of this year? It might have been. I thought it was the end of last year, but it was probably around.
Just say
then.
2 years.
Yeah, it was probably like at least a year and a half until this patch came out that made the game finished and great. And now it's excellent. And already I'm playing this and I'm like, this game's amazing. And they're already talking about Division 2, and it's just like, this is not how you should make games.
Or, you can look at another way where it's like you picked it up for like $15 or whatever it was, and you're like, this is such a good value.
Oh,
those people who pre-ordered and paid $60 were like, I just wish I would have waited till it was $15 because it stunk at first, frankly. You know?
And I would pay $60 for the experience that I have right this second. I don't need to because it's been out for 2 years and it's used, but like I would have, because it was that good of a game when I was playing it. I enjoyed it that much. And so, like, that hurts the whole concept of pre-ordering a lot, because, like, a lot of people are tentative. Like, a lot of people are not going to pick up a game until it comes out, and then maybe that first week or first few days, and people start raving about it.
I can't tell you how many times I heard people say, like, nah, I'm just going to wait till they work all the patches out. Like, you hear about new systems, too. Like, PS4, they're like, I'm not going to get it till the second run. Understandable.
Yeah.
They also have that kind of aura to them, new systems.
For sure.
But, like, a lot of people be like, nah, I'll just wait, like, a month until they have all the patches out. And, as long as it's not, like, the newest Call of Duty where you're like, nah, I got to hop on day one to catch up with everyone.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Just other stuff, it's like, I'll just pick it up,
Yeah.
I'll just pick it up whenever.
Right. But once in a while, you have games like the newest God of War or like Spider-Man, which like people have been raving about out day one, raving about how great it is. I haven't heard anybody complaining about bugginess, weirdness, glitches. Like if they're there, they're very minor and they're immediately fixed because I'm not hearing anybody complain about them, and they're just like obsessed. And so like if you are into that like you want to play these games when they come out and you're excited about that, and then you have like 3 friends that are all just like talking about it nonstop, and then you're like, dang, I'm out of loop. Well, let me run to the store quick. Oh, they don't have any copies. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, I'm having a tough time finding a copy. Like, because, it's a popular game. Like, that's what happens. So you get bit by that sometimes because you want to wait and you want to be responsible because, you don't want to just throw money down on like when Star Wars Battlefront was coming out. Everybody was like, oh, went nuts. And then it's like EA starts talking about, well, there's no story, it's online only, there's loot boxes, it's just like, and then all of a sudden people are like, I don't want to play this, I hate it. And so like you get burned by some of these, and then you start to say, this is not a good idea, I don't want to do this. But
there's also the issue of, and I guess this is more from my side of things than it would be from the consumer side of things, of the timetable. And by timetable, I mean, like, yes, the biggest YouTubers and streamers and whatever, and your Kotakus and whatever, are going to get early copies of Spider-Man. Let's use that as an example. But it's not going to be like a month ahead of time. Right. It's going to be like 3, 4, 5 days, a week ahead of time. Yep. As far as I'm concerned, and especially as far as my distributor and Sony is concerned, that's like, if you are coming, I don't want to say this in a negative way, because I'll appreciate a pre-order even up to day of, right?
Right.
But if you're pre-ordering at a store 3 days before the game comes out, you're ordering.
Yes.
What my distributor actually, and this is kind of an aside, I'm very hardcore about getting my pre-orders in because one of my biggest fears is just being without a big game, right? Yeah. So, like, I'll get them in, like, 2, 3, 6 months ahead of time. And if I have to change them a bit, I do. Like, as we get more and more Smash, I'll be like, well, I'll add 5 or 10 more. And if my distributor comes to me and says, well, hey, I could get you your original 100, but not this extra 20, I'll go, fine. I'll take this, whatever.
This is what it is.
But they send out these emails nowadays because they would get so many video game stores going to them day of release or day before release and being like, dude, can I get like 50 Smash? And they're like, dude, they send this email every week of the new releases. They say, we suggest you pre-order a month out. That's to us. So they're saying, we really suggest it. And they say, if you pre-order the week of, you are not pre-ordering, you are ordering.
Right.
Which is, a great kind of
very different
way to take it.
Yeah.
So, as the consumer, like I said, please don't take this for any negative. Like, I'll take a pre-order up to the second before it comes out. I don't care,
sure.
Right?
But be aware that some of those, you will have an issue where, like, if a game's super, super popular, there might be a couple day delay or whatever.
This makes it tough in the timetable because our distributor will say, well, we have to get ours into to Sony 2-3 weeks ahead of time. Right. Makes sense. Stuff doesn't happen overnight. So they say, we need yours in 2 weeks ahead of time.
Right.
So Spider-Man, when it was coming out, E3, everyone was excited, but it wasn't the hype that it... Like, people were excited, right?
People were not talking about Spider-Man the way they are now.
And we had an okay amount of pre-orders, but it wasn't like, oh my god, this is Red Dead numbers. Like, exactly. This is like... It was... People were like, oh, cool. And my gathering that I got from it is, okay, if you have a PS4 and you're looking for a good game, great. And if you're, like, a Marvel fan or a superhero fan, great. But it came out and it's so good that, like, literally everyone with a PS4 is like, I need it, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And that's a problem in that, like... Again, when we're talking about this timetable, like, there weren't enough things out there early enough for people to go like, oh, wow, okay, this is incredible. I got to get my pre-order. And by the time that was coming out, it was like, I believe our friend Karstetter, when he came in and picked it up, he was like, oh, the embargo lifted today. And that was the day. Review embargoes are when a company will send you out a game early, but they say do not talk about it until X.
Right.
Now,
you have to sign non-disclosure forms and all this stuff.
And the way they can make this happen is they say, do not talk about this until X, or else you're not going to get anything early from us again.
Exactly.
And
You'll
Kotaku and YouTubers and streamers, that's their lifeblood. The only way that they get those people in watching is if they're one of the first people with it.
Exactly. Like
that's why
all those ad revenue clips.
That's why when we do our YouTube page and our Let's Plays and whatever, even when we play a game on day of, like, I'm not like, I care about these views, because at the point, even like we played Mario Tennis for Switch the day it came out. By that time, there were people who had it up a week beforehand.
Yeah,
it's like, forget about it. Yeah. Like that, and again, that's a whole other subject. But like, you have these review embargoes even for a really good game coming out. It's not like a movie that has a review embargo that you can just be like, oh, I'll go see it in another theater or whatever. It's like, there's only a certain amount of copies of these games.
Exactly.
It's not like I can be like, oh, I'll just show Spider-Man again. Like, I'll have another showing for it. It's like, no.
Yeah.
That is what it is. So like I said, this timetable makes it very difficult for us too, because like, again, we had like, and I'm not going to give you actual numbers, but a not crazy amount of pre-orders. So I was like, okay. And I thought about it and I was like, all right, well, generally what I do for not huge releases is I do roughly twice as much games as pre-orders, because I figure your hardcore fans are getting it right then, and all the other people getting it will, like, by the time we run low, I can get more maybe a week or two later, right?
Yeah.
For this one, I was like, I'm going to get 3 times as much. And if we didn't sell out by the end of the day, like that it came out, we sold out by the end of the day when it came out, and I actually got so many that when we got the box,
so you got it Thursday, like they were coming out Thursday night.
Yeah, we didn't even have a midnight release,
but that Friday is the day of release.
By that Friday, we had one more over for Saturday morning,
right? So
but that's technically sold out.
Yeah, so you sell out in one.
And I actually got so many in that my one employee was like, are you sure? And I was like, gotta take a chance. And obviously another part of this, if you're sitting there going, well, why not just order more? I mean, nobody has unlimited money, like, yes. I hate to say it, but like,
I mean, if you are the like giant like game stores,
right,
then that's not like a thing you're even considering, because the numbers that you're ordering,
like, I will let me put it this way, I will do it and order as many as I possibly can if I know for a fact, well, this is Smash Brothers. Like, Smash Brothers comes out in December, and I'm throwing the phone book at it, right? Like, I'm getting, take all my money,
yes.
Fry, take my money, right? But with this one, it's like, well, I don't really know, and frankly, in 2 weeks, NBA 2K and NHL and Shadow of the Tomb Raider come out, right? So it's like, if I am still sitting on 25 copies of this, that's 25 less copies of NHL, NBA, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Exactly.
So, of course, if I would have known it would have sold very well, I just would have got them and went, well, I'll be out anyway, who cares? Then I can just get NHL next week. It's great.
Yeah.
But you can't just be like, well, why not just get 100 copies of it? It's like,
right.
Yeah, I mean, if it's gonna sell, but like otherwise you're sitting on that, and
exactly. There's no way of knowing.
That's a whole nother subject.
Exactly.
There's a lot to that, but trust me when I say, if I would order 100 too many copies, I don't just call my distributor up and say, take them back. Thank you. No, it doesn't really work that way. So let's just keep that in mind when we talk about this.
But I think what's key is that, like, this isn't necessarily saying that, like, the average person that might want a game after it gets released and is hype about it, like, that person should take risks on pre-ordering. Absolutely not. The point of this is, like, on the smaller store side, is that, like, if you ever in your head think, well, I really want it and I'll pop in the day of,
then just pre-order.
Yeah, but just like, but I don't want to pre-order, because there's really no reason to answer that sentence, the end of that sentence, because, like, if you're thinking you want to pop in that day and order it, then just, like, and it doesn't require, like, it doesn't even necessarily. I mean, would you even require to be there physically in the store? Like, could I pre-order over the phone or like?
Yeah, we've done that before.
Facebook Messenger. Or
yeah, we've done that before.
Like,
yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like at least like to know, you know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
and,
like numbers wise, you know what I mean? Like to give you an idea, like if you know. But obviously, like if you're already at the store, like you can just pop in. This is pretty easy. But like the idea is just like if there's ever a thought in your mind where you're like, well, I'll pick it up day one. It's like, well, you might as well pre-order it just for your own benefit of it being there. Because as we can see with the Spider-Man, like if I'm like, oh, sweet, I've heard good things about the Spider-Man, I'll swing by Complete 'Em Box on Saturday because I don't get off work Friday till later. So I'll swing by Saturday morning and I'll pick it up and I'll have a long Saturday of playing this game and it'll be great. That's not going to happen.
That's definitely one of my biggest things that I hate doing is, like, I don't like to turn people away. Even if I know, like, Spider-Man's been where, like, it is pretty much sold out everywhere. Like, I still don't like to do that.
Yeah,
like,
right. I mean, it feels bad that somebody drives in, they, you know, especially if it's a customer that you see a lot, you know, like that always feels even worse because you're like,
here's another thing that, like, you as a customer wouldn't really think of. So video games used to almost always come out on Tuesdays. Right. Now they come out on a mixture of Tuesdays and Fridays, with Fridays being more prevalent for the big releases. And here's why that's... let me clickbait this. Here's why that's bad.
Right.
Here's 10 reasons why that's bad. In all seriousness, so most video game distributors, most video game publishers, they're Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Right.
You know, a game store is open Saturday and Sunday as well because we just do it. You know, I would change it if I could, but, you know, it is what it is. So, you know, a game comes out on Tuesday, right? And you run out or you start to run low. You call your distributor Tuesday afternoon. You go, dude, can you spot me some? And, you know, the answer is yes or no. Sometimes it's yes, sometimes it's no.
Right.
And, you know, I've done this plenty of times in the past. Our distributor's in Harrisburg, which is about 45 minutes away. Sometimes I'll go, hold them for me, I'll be there tomorrow morning. And luckily, you know, I'm lucky we open later in the day where either I can drive there or someone can drive there and be like, we'll have them for the day. Game comes out on Friday like Spider-Man, and there's really not much you can do.
Right.
You don't pick up on Saturday, you don't pick up on Sunday, so you have two choices. If you're lucky enough that you can pick, that you like already know you're going to be out by like Friday mid-afternoon, which is tough because people don't get off of work until, you know, 4 or 5 p.m. and you don't really see that rush until later in the day. Maybe you can run over and get more. But otherwise, the earliest you're getting them is Monday morning. That's a long weekend without any. And worst case scenario, think about it this way. If for some reason your distributor's far away, that means you're ordering Friday, they're going, okay, well, I can't quite get on the FedEx truck in time. It is what it is. You're getting it Tuesday because it's being shipped on Monday. You're getting it Tuesday. Yep. You know, I wish we were a little closer to our distributor. It's a boring 45-minute drive. Parker's taken it some. I've taken it a lot. It's boring.
Yeah,
I'll do it, and I do it every year a lot. But you know, I wish we were a little closer. But you know, some places aren't even that close. Where they're right. You know, some places, some places that use our distributor are in like New Jersey and Connecticut and whatever, and it's like, well, you're not driving there. You know,
no way.
So again, these games coming out on Friday, actually, it seems it's sexier, you know, like Friday, weekend, whatever, you know, like, but whatever, like, I used to be like, why do games come out on Tuesday? And I totally get it more now. It's like, the hardcores pick it up on Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and then word of mouth comes through, and then Thursday you start getting calls, dude, you got Spider-Man, I heard this game's awesome. You got time to call your distributor? Yo, I will be up, get them for me, kind of thing.
Yep.
Then you have them for the weekend. When Friday just happens, the hardcores pick it up, and the word of mouth is the weekend, and that is it. And like I said, you know, we've been talking about this for 28 minutes now. It's a fact of life. I wouldn't, you know, trade my job for anything except for to be like coach of the Patriots. But like, I mean, Belichick, if you're listening, I'll be assistant like left tackle coach. So just saying.
And you won't make any Malcolm Butler mistakes.
No, I will. I'll be like, I will live there. Like give my wife and kids like a little office with me. Like, I'll live there. Okay, so that's an aside. If you're listening, Belichick, just
gotcha.
All right, cool. So like I said, I wouldn't trade it for anything but that. But like, it is a thing that not only affects us because we're like, dang, I hate saying no, but like it affects you, because it's
you
like
don't get the game.
you walk in and it is what it is. So,
Right.
one more thing I want to talk about real quick when it comes to this, and this is more on the level of, I'm sure you guys are annoyed by this too, but it's also annoying on our level, is pre-order bonuses, and they're out of hand.
Right.
And they're so annoying. So, like, back in my day, you pre-ordered Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Now, and this is an extreme example, but it was extremely cool. You pre-order Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, and you got the bonus disc for Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Master Quest, right?
Jeez.
That is like, and again, I don't expect it always to be like that, but that's like that's the golden standard.
If you're gonna do a pre-order bonus, that's the kind of
like
pre-order
that's
bonus.
like so it's unbelievably baller. Like that's just like
absolutely.
Nothing will ever beat that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's very complicated.
Yeah.
And it's complicated because not everyone has everything. Now, as a small store, and I hate giving non-answers, but if you come into me and say, if I pre-order, will you get this code? My answer is probably not. I can't guarantee you, so I'm not going to guarantee it because I don't know. Sometimes, a great example is Battlefield 3. When that game first came out, all of the copies that we got for the first run were the limited edition. It was still $60, and it had that extra expansion pack or whatever it was for free, and it was great, and so all the pre-orders got it. But then a lot of other games come out, and like, WWE every year has the game, you pre-order it and you get like, I don't know, like a Stone Cold in 2016 or whatever, right? And like, you can't guarantee it. And like, GameStop might have AJ Styles, and Best Buy might have the New Day, and it's just like literally like and it's like so complicated, and it's like
then you gotta like choose where you want, and then like as a consumer on my end, I'm just like, if it's something I'm interested in, I just want all the stuff for it. Like, I'll pay $10 extra or something. Like, I just want all the things that are available. It's like, well, you can't. And it's like, that's so frustrating on my end. It's like, just have it be a thing that you could just get online. Like, why do I have to specifically pre-order at this location in order to get
now,
like, and it's always anymore, it's always like a multiplayer thing. So like Last of Us, which is like a story game. I get that there's multiplayer, but like, who cares? It's Last of Us. And I remember there was like a pre-order bonus that was like, like a weird gun for when you play multiplayer. It's like, what's happening? Like, I just want to play. I
played Last of Us like 3 times, and I never even thought about playing multiplayer.
Right? It's terrible.
So, as a small store, we barely ever get any download codes or whatever that kind of stuff is, right? So, the one time or the few times we ever get it is Call of Duty beta codes. And honestly, like, we get so many of those that, like, and so relatively few people pre-order nowadays, just in general, that, like, I will literally give them out. Like, it'll be, like, a day before the beta, and I'll be like, someone will be like, hey, what about this Call of Duty? I'll be like, take a beta code, right?
Right.
And I at least every Call of Duty, at least 2 or 3 people pre-order, do the beta, and then come in on Monday or Tuesday and cancel it.
Cancel their pre-order.
Obviously thinking they're, like, the smartest people in the world and whatever. And it's like, unknowingly, they could have asked me, and I've been like, oh, dude, here's your code.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, right? So, like, if it happens to us, I can't imagine how often that happens to, like, a big place like a Best Buy or GameStop. Like, Gib code, okay, I'd like to cancel this. Why? Nah, whatever. I got my code, whatever. So, like, I understand why they do that for the pre-order kind of stuff, to be like,
right,
hey, here's a reason to pre-order, but still, when you make it so complicated and it's everywhere, it's like, I guess my major thing is make it simple, make it, I don't want to drag this on too much, like, look, I guess we've hit everything we wanted to for the major stuff. Let's head into what would make this better. I'm going to play the pessimist here and say they're not going to do this, but like, let's talk about a perfect world here. Few small steps to make this better and to make this easier for game stores, video game distributors, just you everywhere. First of all, get copies out there a little bit earlier so people can watch streams and stuff like that. I'm talking maybe 2-3 weeks early.
Yep.
Even if you send a highly detailed demo to these people where you're like, I don't want you guys to show off the whole game yet.
Right. Yeah. Like, if it was something where they have a thing that automatically stops you when you get like 10 hours in or something.
That's easily possible.
I'm sure there's a thing where they can just boom. and then it just stops playing the game. But that you had that streamer that could play it right up to that spot and be like, wow, this game is great. Oh, all right, we reached the thing. Thanks for playing. You know?
So get that. I don't care how you have to do it. Get it out there earlier so people see it earlier. I guess that's. That's like the major thing.
Huge one,
that's
right.
that's the huge one.
Because the problem with a lot of these things is just that people don't know. Like with Spider-Man, like I'd heard a lot of buzz about a new Spider-Man game, but Spider-Man games in general are like very hit or miss. Like in the sense that some of them are amazing from the past, and some of them are like dismal, and so you just don't know which one you're gonna get. Like at any given point, and like. Obviously, people have been like waiting for a newest technology generation Spider-Man because like there's a lot more capabilities on these machines, and it's like, oh man, you could be able to do a cool game like that. But you know, when it's coming out, like nobody knows. Maybe there'll be something that just really nobody likes, and it sucks. But like if if it would have like gotten out there a lot sooner, and there was no like embargo or whatever, like. I mean, I get not spoiling the story. Absolutely, like we live in an age where there's spoiler.
Well, but here's the thing. I've talked it now. I would not do this myself, and I must say, I get it, but I wouldn't do it. I've talked to so many people that like are picking up a game, right? And I'm like, oh, did you play this yet? Like maybe it's not necessarily like a new game or whatever, like Last of Us, right? And they're like, no, but I watched this guy play like the whole thing on stream, and like now I'm picking it up. It's like. Right. I don't get that part. Like people do it, I'm a little
too old for that. Like I want to play it.
Don't get me wrong. I watch Twitch. Like Twitch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Twitch. I watch more than like TV nowadays, right?
Exactly.
But it's usually.
But I like to watch stuff that I've already.
It's usually people playing Mega Man X over and over again, right? But anyway, so like I would watch it to be like you really. My personal opinion is you only need to see 10-15 minutes of a game to be like, okay, this is good, right? Yeah. This is what I would like, right? Absolutely. I can't imagine you have to be like. I watched the whole thing, and I don't like it. Yeah. Like, the last 10 minutes decided it for me. Yeah. But, like, I've talked to a lot of people who are like, yeah, I watched someone play the whole thing, and now I want to give it a try. It's like, I'm way too into stories. Like, if I watch someone play Last of Us, because for me it's all about the story. Like, I don't even personally like the gameplay too much.
I would get it for a game that's, like, not story-driven.
Yeah.
Like, any kind of game
for me, I'm story game. Yeah, so, absolutely. Like, if I saw the whole Last of Us, like, story, I'd be like, well, I don't want to play that game, right? Like, that's why I haven't watched a single second of God of War, because eventually I will play God of War.
Exactly.
And, like, I don't want to know what it, like, the whole story.
Yeah,
but anyway, so, like I said, like, just get it out there, let people watch it, move the release date to Tuesdays again. Like I said, some games still come out on Tuesdays, but, like, dude, like, Fridays, like, it's cool and sexy, but it's like, you're making it tough. And stop the exclusive nonsense. Like, if GameStop, like, some really small releases, if GameStop's going to pay you however much money to have Shin Megami only at GameStop, like, whatever, right? But, like... did they pay you enough to get only Stone Cold Steve Austin on WWE 2K19? Like,
frustrating.
Like, no one likes that. No one likes having to be like, well, I went to Best Buy this time, but I don't like Best Buy, so I went to GameStop this time. I don't like GameStop, but I have to go there because they have whatever. It's like, stop it. Just make it simple. Honestly, I think it all comes down to, like, now that we've talked it out, because we had, like, a plan of talking about this, but now that we talked about the whole thing in full, I think it all comes down to, let's get the games out there earlier for these people to stream. YouTube and streamers and stuff are so important for games nowadays. Yes. Like, people don't read the magazines, for the
few magazines.
For the most part, like, they don't go to the websites. Like, once in a while, like they'll hit it up, like, on the day of to be like, Metacritic says 9, so it's got to be pretty good, right? But, like...
Watching somebody actually
play it is it.
So much easier.
Right, and if you get it out there early enough that people see it, like, and I'm saying 2-3 weeks early, it'll be easier for everyone. It'll be easier for stores like us. It'll be easier for them as a customer. Sure. It would just be easier.
Right. But, like, obviously all of that is, like, ideal, perfect world type thing. Like, that is, like... that is like game publishers' decisioning making.
Right.
As far as like, you the listener or whatever, like the best thing you can do is if there's ever a like if you're the type of person that like only likes to play a game after it's completely fixed and there's no problems and whatever, then You don't ever have to worry about pre-ordering. You will never run into that problem because that's how you play games. But if you're the type of person that wants to play that game first amongst your friends, you want to be the one that like enjoys it and sees it before you see anything else get spoiled, or somebody spoils it on Facebook or on Twitter or something, and you're like, dang, I missed that. Like, if you want to be the one that just experiences the story, experiences the gameplay first, like, do yourself a favor. Like, not like it is a big favor to complete a box, but do yourself a favor and pre-order, because like then it will be there. Like, then you can definitely walk in and it will be there. Like, and I remember like when I wanted to play Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and Katamari Damacy, I pre-ordered all three of those games because they were a game I wasn't sure I was going to be able to walk into that day and pick up, and it was awesome because I pre-ordered it, and then I came back day one, there it was, and it was like, they probably only had like 5 or 6 other copies of, whatever it was, until it started like getting like exciting and people were talking about it. But like, it was like cool, and I went home and I immediately played it, and it was great. And like, that's the best feeling, is when you like, I want this thing, I know I want it, regardless of whether it's going to be broken and there might be some patches, I still want it. I love this, whatever it is. It's Spider-Man, it's God of War, it's, Call of Duty, whatever. Like, I know I'm going to want it. I might end up trading it in a couple months because it's not very good, but I want to be the one that experiences it. Like, just do yourself a favor and just pre-order.
Whether you're local to us or you have you cross the country, whatever.
Yeah, like any game store.
Like they would all super appreciate it. And here's another little tidbit of advice. Although, like Parker said, any games that are coming out that you're sure, like every year, if I didn't have the store, I would pre-order Madden every year just to make sure I'm not messing around. Whatever, Last of Us 2 comes out, I would pre-order. Blah, like stuff that works that for me. Like that's just my kind of stuff. You would think that it's more important to pre-order the big titles, but it's almost even more important to pre-order the small titles that you're like, oh well, it's not Red Dead, so people aren't going to be like hammering at the nails. It's like, there have been plenty of times where like we've had no pre-orders for a certain game, so I only get a couple copies, and well, we sold out first day. We're done here. So just one last quick example.
There was another like decent game.
The most recent one that we had literally 0 pre-orders for, but it ended up being huge, is a PS4 game from late last year called Nioh. Nioh.
That's it. Yep.
And we had no pre-orders,
right.
And I'm not dumb when I hear people talk about it, Parker even knows, sometimes I'll message the group of guys and be like, what do you guys hear about blah, right? Exactly. Because, spoiler alert, I like games a lot, but like, I got a couple crazy kids and stuff, so like, I'm not always watching every Nintendo Direct and whatever, so I'll be like, TLDR me on the Nioh, right? But like, that game, I did not hear a single person say a single word about, right? No. That game, I was like, okay, but like, I almost didn't order any, honestly. Like, sometimes that, like, I don't order every game, but I was like, oh, it's by Kemco or whatever. I forget who it is, so I was like, whatever. I got like 5 copies, right? Which I was like, whoop, I'm out that money forever, right?
Yeah.
We got it in that morning, and we sold it. Like, I literally sold out as I was taking it out of the box, and I was like, cool. And I called our distributor and was like, do you have any more Nioh? And they were like, dude. And I specifically remember it being like a month and a half until it was like, because it was just like no one pre-ordered anywhere, no one, no one. And like somebody came out with it and was like, oh my god, it's like, I think it was like Dark Souls, but it's like ninjas or whatever. And it was like blah blah, you know what I mean? And it's like, guess what? No one has it because like, it was lightning in a bottle, and like clearly there were some people that knew about it, but like just everyone thought it was going to be a small game, and it wasn't. And we got so many calls. The biggest one of all time, and looking back on it, it's funny, but the biggest one of all time since we've been around since 2011 is an Xbox 360 game called Dead Island. It sounds crazy, just millennials, no, what's the one below us, or younger than us, Gen Z?
Yeah.
Gen Zoomers, just listen to me real quick here. Let me take you back to the Xbox 360 days. That was bonkers. Like, that literally was worse than, like, we, like, on the first, like, 2 weeks it came out, got, like, 10 calls a day. You got Dead Island. No one had it. I even called local stores and was just like, you know, do
you have
Dead
curious?
Island? You know, kind of thing. And it's like, nope.
Like,
It's like, no. Like, ha 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 ha, no. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
And like, looking back on it, like now you can walk into any store and you'll find it for $5. But like,
Yeah,
it was a really big thing. It was like the height of the zombie craze, and like sometimes there's lightning in the bottle where like you really can't help it, and I feel like that was kind of one of it.
For sure.
But like for every one of those, there's like 25 of like ones where you're like, come on, guys, you know, get this in. But like I said, that was that was one where I was just like, you tip your hat and you're like, okay,
what can you do?
But and then a year later, no one cared about Dead Island.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's how it works. But like I guess the point is just like, if you find that a game's coming out in like a month or 2 weeks and you go, I'm definitely gonna want to get
just
that.
do it.
Like,
just do
so
it.
Easy.
We appreciate it. I don't even care if you're like, I listen to this entire podcast, but I hate Complete Inbox. Like, then go do it at your
anywhere
do
else.
Do it at your local. Like, I don't care, right? Like, now if you listen to all 45 minutes of this and you're like, but I hate him, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, like. You know, I don't like watch every like Patriots loss and go, this is the worst. I'm gonna go watch Super Bowl 52 right now. But yeah, like I said, like even if like I said you're not local or you're like whatever, like just do them a favor. They will like you. Like I love when people pre-order, like, you know, and there's people like, you know, who I know will want to get whatever, and you know, because I'm more of a personable guy, like people will message me day of, hey, do you have any Smash? It's like, this is to you, this is to everyone, this is to everyone around. If you're gonna message your game store dude the day of and be like, and you know you're gonna get Smash, bruh, you know, just get. It helps everyone. It helps Nintendo. You like Nintendo. It helps the distributor. You don't know them, but you like them. Right. They're nice guys.
You don't realize it, but you like them a lot.
You like them.
They're the reason that you have the game that you want.
And just like I said, even if you do it at like a GameStop or a Best Buy, like just do it. Like you know what? Like even if you're like, I don't like Best Buy or GameStop, like I bet you like one employee there. I bet you like RJ. I bet RJ's a nice guy. You know, everyone out there. What? Yeah. Anyway, I dropped too many names today. Now the pre-orders are going to go to RJ at where he works. So anyway, guys, I think we hit up on everything. I think we tied it with a neat little bow. It was a good discussion. Like I said, very early on, in no ways am I like physically complaining about it. Like it's just kind of like, we want to explain all the sides of this and how it affects everyone. It's a complex issue. It is complex.
Right.
There's
it's more than just like,
there's no easy way for it. And like I said, like our biggest thing is we want to get what you need and what you want. And if we all kind of work towards the middle, there can be peace in the gaming world.
Wow.
I know.
So nice.
We were Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. We can all get together and pre-order.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall
of pre-orders.
Of pre-orders.
Tear down this wall of day one patches. Bye. See you next time. Thank you for listening.